Follow along as I restore this beautiful mid-century modern dresser back to its former glory. MCM furniture is highly sought after and is making a big comeback. The straight lines, shapes, and sometimes bold color of these pieces allow them to transform any space. As soon as I saw this one for sale on Facebook Marketplace for $40, I knew I had to have it. Many mid-century modern pieces are made with plywood or particle board and then covered with a high-quality wood veneer or sometimes laminate, and I could tell that that was the case in this piece. Now that doesn't necessarily mean it's a low-quality piece. That's just a very popular furniture trend that was starting to happen in the 50s. Many furniture pieces that are built this way are high quality and can last a lifetime as long as you're taking care of them appropriately. So I got right in, removing the old finish to see what I was working with. Most of this piece is covered with a high quality wood veneer, but the top I suspect is laminate, and I'll show you why later in this video. At this point in the prep phase, I'm still intending on doing a full restoration. I'm using my carbide scraper to scrape off the old finish from the drawer fronts and sides of the dresser. And then I'm going to be using a paint stripper on the top, just because I could tell that has a very, very thick coat of top coat. This wood grain underneath this old finish is beautiful. You can see here what it looks like. The 5 are already scraped and the 1 is left in the original state. As beautiful as that original wood color is, it's important that you know it won't stay that way once you add a top coat. Here, I've just applied water to these drawer fronts to show you what it will look like when I add a water-based poly over the top. The wood color will change. My goal is to keep this as original as possible, so I'll be matching that red mahogany color wood stain so that I can keep the entire dresser in the same shade. Now here's where I knew I was working with laminate. This paint stripper didn't do anything. Laminate is often a mix of plastics, woods, and other composite materials, and they're really used to ensure a durable, lifelong piece of furniture. But since my stripper didn't do anything, I realized I wasn't going to be able to restore this top to match the rest of the dresser. You can also see here that parts of the body of the dresser are a different kind of wood. So this is a white wood, the rest of the dresser is a red wood. So I could never get those colors to match no matter what color of stain I used. There's also some pretty big damaged parts on the tops and the sides of this dresser. The only part that's in really excellent original condition is the drawers. Here's the last indicator that you've got a laminate top. You can see here that very thin, dark layer on the top of the dresser. That is the laminate that's covering the particle board. Since laminate is not real wood, you can't strip it back and restain it. So I'm gonna have to paint parts of this dresser. Since I'm just now realizing that, I don't have a plan yet. So back to the drawers I go, because I know that I'm gonna stain these. So here I'm just finishing sanding them down with a 220 grit sandpaper just to give myself a nice finish. I did plan on painting the rest of the dresser, but you can see here that the handle is underneath the drawer, and I don't feel like putting paint on that handle would allow for a long-lasting durable finish, so I'm gonna have to stain that part as well. I use my detail sander with a 180 grit sanding screen to get into these small grooves. Now I'm just going in with the stain color that I picked, which is called Gunstock, and it's by Rust-Oleum. And here I'm just wiping it on every part of the front of the dresser that you're gonna see when the drawers are in. I'm just using a Q-tip to get into the little edges of this piece because I don't want to get stain on the parts that I'm going to be painting. This stain is oil-based and my paint is water-based, so they just don't mix well. Here I'm staining the drawers as well. This color is beautiful. I've also stripped the legs back to raw wood, and I'll be staining those to match the drawer fronts. Make sure you're in a well-ventilated area when you're using this oil-based stain because it can get kind of strong smelling. You need to allow it 24 hours to dry before using a water-based top coat. After I taped off all of my stained areas, I'm just going in with a brush and I'm painting the body of this dresser black. And I am going to be brushing the paint on just because I don't want to have to worry about taping off every little bit of this dresser. This paint by Melange goes on so well. It has a built-in primer and top coat, so I just gave this whole dresser a nice scuff sanding before I went directly in with paint. All right, now it's time to spray on a top coat. So I'm just setting up my Wagner spray booth. Here, it is easier with 2 people, but I can show you here that it can be a one-man job as well. This spray tent has been a lifesaver. It's really allowed me to spray all of my furniture pieces, which can ensure a smoother finish on your furniture. So I really suggest investing in some sort of setup so that you can spray inside all year round. Okay, and I go with this dresser, so I'm just gonna slide it and center it in the booth and clean it off to make sure I don't have any dust or debris on it before I spray it. I'm just gonna use a polyacrylic in my Wagner Flexio spray gun. So here I'm just straining that top coat to make sure there's no little pieces or chunks, anything that can clog my sprayer. I'm putting everything together, ensuring my setting is where I want it, and then I'm going to get to work on spraying. Here I go with my first coat. I'm going to overlap each pass about 50% to ensure a nice solid yet light first coat. I'll do this all along the top, the fronts, and the sides. We'll allow 2 hours to dry between each coat and then come in with a 400 grit sandpaper to do a light sanding to ensure everything is smooth before going on with my next coat. After I sand, I use a piece of tack cloth, which is like a sticky cheesecloth, to remove all of the dust before moving on with my next coat. And I repeated this process 4 times. I wanted to make sure that this dresser had a nice solid finish, so 4 coats of poly it was. This dresser also came with a mirror. So here Kyle's just helping me remove the mirror from the frame so that I could paint the frame. I taped off a little wood detail piece, painted everything black, and now here I am removing my tape so that I could stain that wood to match the rest of the dresser. This dresser sure is coming together. Yeah, I did have to shift my plan and go with a two-tone look, but boy was it worth it. In furniture flipping, you're always having to shift directions, so make sure that you're flexible and you find a way to just go with a new plan. This piece turned out beautiful. It's sleek and modern, and it will make a great addition to any home. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is this a piece you would have in your house? What would you have done differently? And let me know if you want to see any more videos like this. Make sure you like and follow along for more furniture flipping tips and tricks.